This is a very important message to the people in the UK who over Christmas and facing towards New Year are going to have catastrophic flooding, some of it record breaking. Now, I'm very pleased there's thousands of people waking up to what was a covert weather operation. It's a deliberate manipulation of the weather. There are many other agendas involved with this, and if you look up Agenda 21, I believe this is part of it. But it's time to wake up. You people who are complaining about flooding, you haven't a clue what's going on behind the scenes, and I'm about to show you. So please wake up, and if anybody in your villages sees this, please tell your friends and neighbours, because you're being deliberately manipulated into a situation that you're suffering because of it. And I'm going to show you. I posted this video a few days ago, and it's going on to show how over the Atlantic the weather fronts were manipulated. Look up EMF frequencies and weather modifications. I've already done a video on it, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but we're going to itemize specifically a piece of equipment which is out in the Atlantic, which was active recently within the last 24 hours to 48 hours, and it caused massive drops in the pressure, causing lows, which the BBC weather forecasters said has caused now a new weather front, and it's Storm Frank which is coming in. Okay, so now I want you to watch this. This is very important. The reason I'm showing these lines is there is equipment in the Pacific below Argentina which caused this, and I'll prove it. So without further delay, what you've got to look at here is the Falkland Isles, and on the Falkland Isles is this piece of equipment. It's called Superdawn. Now it's important you take notice of these transmitters. Now I'll show you on Google Earth exactly where it is here, and if you count how many masts there are there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 transmitter masts in Superdawn. You can actually look at this live on the internet. Now there's a reason why I'm showing this, and it's this. You count how many beams there are going up here. Let's actually come out of this. You can count them. There is the same amount of beams there going right across, and I'll tell you for why I know. You count them. There's actually 16 beams, exactly the same as that transmitter, because there is another one there, and there's the edge of another one here. I've counted them. There are 16. And not only that, on the base where this is based, let's zoom out to this. There's another one that I want to bring up that shows this island flashes exactly the same time that these beams come out. Also bear in mind that the satellite is actually this is live. This is taking place. These are the Superdawns. Actually there's many others Superdawns. You can see a list of them here, but the particular one we're looking at is in the Falkland Isles. Now this is what the modification equipment can do. We've had warm air being pulled south from the USA, along with cold air as well, and warm air that's being mixed. You'll see the two being mixed here now. There, one there and here, and as it mixes together, it's then forced and pushed up to the UK. They have the equipment to do this, and we'll look on these islands here in the Azores. There's equipment there. As that passes through, you see the reaction over the Azores, and it's pushed there. So we come out from the Falklands Isles, and we will look at the Azores. So we come up from the Falkland Isles. There's the Superdawn. Here's the islands. There's Argentina. And this beam was coming across up from the south up towards the UK. Bear in mind that the satellite, if you look, I've measured across there where the satellite is. If you took it across to where the UK is, the beams would be more over towards the UK. The satellite actually, as you can see here, I'll bring this down, is actually measuring from the distance from the Falklands to where the UK is. If the satellite was further over, it would be about 3,500 miles, which would realign those beams to the correct place. But just have a look at this. The Azores is here in the Atlantic. There you go. And there's lots and lots of equipment here that can be used for ionization and weather manipulation. So we've got multiple transmitters here. We have two NEXRADs, which I've explained in other videos. There's ionizer transmitters there. Some of them are military for communications, but the frequencies can always be changed, and they certainly have a massive effect. There's another NEXRAD in the distance and other transmission dishes here, but there's also some other ionizer posts here. They are stationed here just on the side of this road. So there's certainly the equipment here. There's also some NASA equipment in this area as well, which, if you like, we can find that. There's the two NEXRADs, and there's also some what we call ELF ground transmitters there. And isn't it unusual that the moisture content and the changes in the atmosphere which led up to these storms took place right over these islands where these transmitters are? Now let's look at what is going to hit the UK now according to their weather forecasts in view of what we've just seen. Just before we do that, it's important, I wanted to show you this. You can see those 16 beams in the atmosphere there. Now this is where the super dawn is. As those beams flash, watch the Falkland Isles, you will see 2 to 3 small lines flash just above the Falkland Isles. Now you don't always see the effect in the atmosphere on where the transmitters are. You see where the frequency has been transmitted to, but you do see an anomaly in the area of the transmitter, and you certainly see one there. So that's why I'm saying, in my opinion, that frequency was generated from super dawn on the Falklands, because that flash takes place exactly the same time that these beams are shown in the atmosphere. And the reason they show up is they actually heat up those sections of the atmosphere. You're not actually seeing the frequencies, you're seeing the effect it's having on the moisture content which this microwave satellite actually picks up on. So you're looking at the differential and the changes to the atmosphere that these frequencies have made. So there is one of the fingerprints of looking for a transmitter. There's a small anomaly there just above the island where it flashes. This is Weather Online Live today, Tuesday the 29th of December. This is the start of this rainfall coming over, and you can see if this will start. It's been standing for a while. So, and there are, this is another subject, there's other NEXRADs there which we do believe it affects the precipitation. When the beams come out, it's unusual though, it's every time the beams come out you can see these. There is a major change in precipitation. Just let this play through once more. You can see this coming round. It's coming round again now. That's one in Limerick in Ireland. But it's funny how you get straight lines straight down the country, which is quite often how the EMF frequencies line up to the precipitation. So we'll go to the effect that's coming in now of the weather front from Storm Frank, and you know what's happening, you know what's coming. You've had rain after rain after rain, and now they've got more coming in. The frequencies that where they hit the atmosphere cause a low, and that's what they're saying on the news in a minute. The low is what caused Storm Frank to actually increase in its energy, and that's exactly what they do with this equipment. And just to prove it, here we are the day before, December the 28th. There's the UK. Here's the lower warm air that they've been bringing in. These are a few hours in between, so that's why you've got the line there. And here you can see further frequencies in the cloud on the edges where it's pushed straight lines for thousands of miles. It's not natural, absolutely not natural. And then you've got the northern other cloud formations being pushed together, which we've just seen on the microwave satellite. And interestingly, I'll show you in the wind profiler now. They've been cloud seeding just south of the UK in the Channel, further just above there. Just let me pull this back again. There you go. Absolutely irrefutable. They always cloud seed just before the storms. We've looked on satellites. There's masses of cloud seeding. You go look across the UK and Europe. Every time there is a weather front and a storm and major flooding, a few days before on the satellite, you will always see this cloud seeding. Please look for yourself and bloody wake up, because you're going to be hit and hit until this is exposed. So let's look at BBC News now, and also the wind profiler that shows how this was manipulated to create what you're suffering now. And there you have it. Northern cool air being brought down, southern warm air blended together up the middle. The heaters where they lift the atmosphere and cause a low pressure. And guess what's just here? You've got the UK where you're being hit now with this weather front. And of course the cloud seeding is being blended in, goes around the top and comes back down again from the top to blend in with this so they can control it. Heavy metals, particulates like aluminium, barium and strontium, they make great use of in the atmosphere, not only for precipitation but for manipulation of the atmosphere using electromagnetic frequencies. And here's your news today, showing the weather.
Weather fronts will be affecting the UK, bringing a renewed flooding risk across parts of Scotland and also northwest England. Now, it's across Dumfries and Galloway that we're really in the firing line. We could see 120 millimetres of rain, and that rain falling in a short space of time means if we do see some flooding impacts, the floodwaters could come up very, very quickly. And it's a similar story as well in Cumbria. There are also concerns across parts of Wales, another area where we have already seen record-breaking December rainfall. So it might be worth keeping to hand the floodline number. We do have a number of severe flood warnings currently in force, and that situation may get worse over the next 24 to 36 hours. So this squally band of rain then on Wednesday will push its way eastwards across Scotland, England and Wales, with brighter skies for Northern Ireland through the afternoon, but here's some hefty showers moving in, and it will be another mild December day again, with temperatures between 10 and 13 degrees.
So why are we having high temperatures in December? Because they are bringing up warm air from the south and mixing it with cold air from the north. That's why you're having colder temperatures at the north. Yes, we normally do, but not such an extreme. And also, we're having record-breaking rain measurements for December. I mean, wake up. Just, you don't need to be an expert in the weather to realise what they're doing. Keep it simple. You can see how the source has been started off using the equipment, affecting the atmosphere, bringing these two sections of hot, warm air and cool air together to create what you've got now. Please wake up. I was going to come up there and drop 10,000 leaflets to wake people up. I just hope that this goes viral in your locality. If you don't believe it, look at it anyway and make your own opinion of it. But do something. Don't just ignore it. And again, here's further news of Storm Frank coming in on you.
As the floodwaters linger, could this be the calm before yet another storm? Deepening quickly in the Atlantic is Storm Frank. It's expected to bring more heavy rain later today and overnight, hitting parts of England that are already flooded, as well as areas in Scotland and Wales.
The core of that storm is actually going to swerve off towards Iceland, but we're going to get a double whammy in the UK, especially towards the north and west, of wind and rain.
Some 500 troops in Yorkshire and Lancashire have been drafted in to help after many people have been forced from their homes. It's estimated the cost of flooding across northern England could exceed £1.5 billion. The Department for Transport is going to provide £40 million to help repair and rebuild roads and bridges, while houses in Greater Manchester and Lancashire are still without power. Some argue the areas hit hardest in northern England are being let down, but the government denies this and point to this map of flood defence projects across the country. The ones in blue are being planned. It says a £2.3 billion budget is being spent fairly. Rainfall this month has been record-breaking in parts of the UK, which is partly down to the exceptionally mild weather. But with more to come, the Environment Agency is now calling for a complete rethink of flood defences. Frankie McCamley, BBC News.
What more can we say, apart from people coming round and knocking on your face to say, will you please look at the information, look what's going on behind the scenes.